Hey guys, so today I want to talk about using Asana for free in 2024. There are, of course, some paid tiers that you can sign up for, but there's a free version of Asana that has quite a bit of functionality. You can have unlimited projects with unlimited tasks, you can upload an unlimited number of files, and you can actually collaborate with up to 10 different people in that space. So whether it's for personal task management or even for a small business, there's quite a bit that you can do, and I'm going to go through a couple of examples to show you that functionality today. We're going to start with something basic like a grocery list, and we're going to work our way up into something a little bit more complex like managing invoices for clients or maybe a client schedule, so that you can see all the different features. And as we go through those, I'll point out what is available for free and then what's not available that you might want to consider upgrading if you think it's worth it. So let's dive right in. I'm not going to walk you through how to create an account in Asana. It's pretty straightforward. I think you can do it. Just go to asana.com, click sign up, walk through the prompts. You'll find your way on this homepage in no time. On this homepage, you're going to have a couple of widgets that are essentially links to all of the information you have elsewhere in Asana. When you click on this customize button, you can see the full list of widgets you have access to, some of which you don't in the free version, but some of which you do, so you can drag over what you want. The two that I'll point out is this private notepad. It's kind of like your replacement sticky note where you can take notes maybe about a phone call you had or maybe a gate code you don't want to forget, or you can even tie direct links to tasks and projects within Asana. Second, you have this awesome widget that I love if you forget to actually post a comment. So if you're collaborating with someone and you needed to ask a question, it's actually going to show you what you forgot to hit post on so you can quickly hop in and click comment. Then it'll disappear from your draft comments area. Awesome. Okay, so from there, let's hop into our grocery list. So every project in Asana has to live in a team. So I've got my team right here down at the bottom. When I click on my team, it's going to show me all of my projects in that team, and I've got my grocery list right here. When I open up the grocery list, you can see that I've created sections for each store that I want to go to and I want to track a list for. So that way, as I'm going throughout my week, if I think of something else I need to buy at that store, I can hop into my grocery list. Maybe I also need to get pepper. I can add that there. Then when I go to the store, I open it up, I go through my aisles, and as I get things off my list, I can check those off. You also have fun animals that will fly across your screen as you just saw. That is available in the free version. They want to make sure everybody's having fun. You don't have to pay for that. So something for you to point out, or something for me to point out and for you to notice, is that as I mark these things complete, they're actually still showing here. So of course, if we continue to use this grocery list, that's going to get quite long and a little bit annoying. So what's awesome and for free in this version of Asana is you can actually filter this. So when you click on filter, you can actually filter this by incomplete tasks so that you're only seeing what you haven't purchased yet. So that's super helpful to clean that up and make sure it's only showing you what you still need to buy. Next, the default behavior when you create a new project in Asana, it's always going to have this assignee column and this due date column. So of course for a grocery list, we don't need this. So we can actually hide these columns. We can right click or just click on the arrow and hit hide column. And so we've essentially changed the way that we can see and view this project. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because we have over here this Save View button. What that does is that now I don't have to run that filter every time I come into this project. It's going to remember that this is how I want to view it. So I'm going to click Save View so that I don't have to keep filtering out the incomplete tasks. That's just always how I'm going to see it. So now when I mark something complete, it's automatically going to disappear for me. Next, what I want to point out is you do have a couple of other ways that you can view this project. You have a list view, you have a board view, maybe you prefer it that way. You have a calendar view, which can also be viewed as a month. And you have a couple of other things, some of which you have available in the free version, but some that you don't. For example, the dashboard, that's not something you can use in the free version. And you also have a few other that might be showing on your screen, like the timeline or the Gantt. Those are not available in the free version. You do have available this Files tab, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but just know that you can use that in the free version. Okay, so let's get a little bit more complicated now. So we've looked at our grocery list. Let's talk next about maybe you want to track your credit cards and your bills. That's something that you do need to assign, and it does have due dates. So really similarly, I've created sections, one for my credit cards, one for my bills. Maybe you don't want those sections built out and you can just put everything in one section, or you don't have to have sections at all. That's totally optional. So for these, you can see I've assigned everything to myself and I put due dates on these bills. Immediately, what I want you to notice is that there's this arrow on the due date. What this means is that it's actually a recurring task. So when I have made this payment, I've got that done. Let's say that I paid this Chase Visa a little bit early. I can mark this complete. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to pre-populate that next Chase Visa payment for me. So it just recreated that task and its due date is June 30th because this credit card is due every June 30th. So something available in the free version is recurring tasks. In order to set up a recurring task, let's say I have another bill that I want to make sure I pay every month. Maybe it's my phone bill. I can assign this to myself. And when I plug in the due date, let's say it's due on the 13th of every month, I click down here, set to repeat. I want to make sure it repeats monthly. And it's not on the second Monday, but if that was something that was repeating for you, you have that option. It's going to be on the 13th. And now it's set up. That's all I have to do. So every time I mark it complete and I pay that bill, it's going to create my next month's bill for me. Something else you may have noticed is that I've already had some filters and some sorts on here. So I filtered by my incomplete tasks, just like we did in the grocery list. And I put my sort on the due date, so it's in order of those due dates. You can also see that I deleted those extra tabs that I didn't want. So I only have my list view and my calendar view. So you have the ability to delete any views that you don't want if you want to keep this nice and clean. Okay, let's continue to step it up. What else can we do? Maybe we need to start talking about collaborating with other people. So I have this project for traveling, documents, and planning. So I want to go on some trips and I want my friends to help me plan this. So I'm going to assign them some tasks. For example, I want to plan a trip to Nashville in June of 2024. I've actually assigned my husband a task to make a list of restaurants to visit. I can actually see that there was a like on this task and we've got 2 comments posted here. So when you want to start collaborating with other people and you need to assign tasks, what else do we need to do for this Nashville trip? Let's say that we also want to reserve dinner reservations. That doesn't make sense. Let's say make dinner reservations. And I want my husband to also do that. I click on his name and I put the date that I want it to be done by. Thanks, babe. So this is how you can collaborate with other people. Simply putting them in the assignee list is going to send them an invitation into your Asana space. The other things I'm doing a little bit more complicated in this project is I have attached files. So if I want to remember, for example, what hotel I booked, because I will confess I have made hotel reservations and then when the time came, completely forgot which hotel I booked and could not find my email confirmation anywhere. That was a moment of panic. And so I can actually attach that in my Asana task. So once I've completed it, I have done this. As you can see, I marked it complete. And you can see I don't have my filter on incomplete tasks because I still want to be able to find that information. So I have attached to this task my hotel booking. I also use the description box to just quickly put in the name, the address of that hotel, and the booking confirmation number. Again, you might not be as crazy as me and might not need all that information, but that's one example of what to use your description box for, basically to provide more context or just things that you might need to remember. On this task that I'm collaborating on with my husband, we can scroll down and we can see the comments back and forth. We've got this comment where he suggested a particular restaurant and included a link to it. I clicked on that link, thought it looked delicious, and so I let him know, it looks great, let's book it. We can also see here I have a task for the itinerary. So you can also use the description box as a way to put in those notes about where you want to go. Maybe you just want to type your itinerary straight there, or you can paste links to any outside documents like a Google Doc file or a Dropbox file or anything like that. I also have a subtask here where I want to share this itinerary with my friend who lives in Nashville. I want her to know what's going on. If she can join us for anything, she can see this itinerary. So maybe she's not about Asana, she's not in here, but I just want to remember to share that with her. I made a subtask, assigned it to myself with today's due date. So I want to make sure I do that today. As you can see, if we keep scrolling, I've got another section for my trip to Costa Rica. I have all the same tasks. I've assigned them a little bit differently. And I'm including my friend Allison in this one. And then I also have the same one for Paris, France. I want to go to Paris in March of 2025. This one I haven't even assigned out yet, but it's something that I want to do. I don't want to have to type these tasks every single time that I have a new trip. So While you cannot template anything in the free version, you do have to pay for that. In the paid version, you can have template tasks and you can have template projects. In the free version, the workaround here is you can actually duplicate sections. So I could either duplicate my Paris, France trip or any one of these trips, or I can create a little section that I'm going to call my template. I'm going to click right here on More Actions and I'm going to hit Duplicate Section. It's then going to ask me what all I want to copy and whatever I may not want to copy. I can rename this. So let's see, where do I want to go next? I want to go to somewhere in the mountains. Let's go to Patagonia, and we're going to go in August of 2025. So I can choose to copy over if I wanted to copy the assignments, task descriptions, subtasks, etc. I have that option. So this is pretty powerful and available in the free version. You don't have to utilize the template that you would have to pay for. So when you do that, it created that section for us and it created all of those tasks. I can now drag that section above my template, or if I wanted to prioritize it above France, I could drag it above France. And maybe I can collapse France, or maybe this trip got canceled. I can actually delete this entire section and delete the tasks. So the tools that we just covered in the free version that were a little bit more complicated here, we can collaborate with others, we can create subtasks, we can like the tasks, we can comment on the tasks, and we can duplicate sections. I mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about that Files tab. This is where that could come in handy. As I showed you, I attached my hotel booking to this task, and I attached my flight booking. And if we have several other trips going on here, maybe that Files tab is helpful. So if I go to my Files tab, what that's going to do is it's actually going to show anything that's been attached on those tasks as a quick reference. They're not going to be organized in any particular way, just something to note, but again, still could be helpful for you. Okay, let's keep going and get to a little bit more complicated examples. Let's talk about that small business. Let's say we're running a small landscaping company with one or two other people. And I have created a project for my client. Every time I have a new client, I'm going to create a project for them so that I can track important information like their client information, how to access emergency contact info. Maybe this is where I want to list the services that they've requested. And then I've made a section for scheduling. So every time I need to go out to their place, I'm actually going to create a task. I'm going to assign it to the person responsible to do that work. And then I'm going to put the day that I'm doing that work. Similarly, I have a section for my invoices. So every time I need to invoice my client, I'm going to put that in the client project. Then I have the section for miscellaneous actions. So none of that's new, but again, just showing you how you might want to consider structuring a client project. What is new that I want to touch on and mainly focus on here is what's called multi-homing. Multi-homing is super powerful and again, free to use. Multi-homing is where you can put one task in multiple different projects. So I have this column here showing what other projects these tasks might live in. We can see at the top, none of these tasks are in a different project. But right here, I've got a landscape schedule project. What that's doing, if we click on this project, it's going to a calendar view to my landscape schedule project, and it's going to show me every schedule item for every client rather than just my one client. So that is really the power of multi-homing, is that I can have one project for each client so that when I need to focus on my client, I can go to the client project. But if I want to look at my schedule as a whole, every time I schedule something for a client, regardless of what client project it is, I can then multi-home it in this landscape schedule. So I can see that on Wednesday, I needed to be at 5678 2nd Street. Yesterday, I was at 9012 3rd Street, and today I'm at 1234 1st Street. So today, this is what I need to go do to do my schedule for my clients. So multi-homing is super powerful. The way that multi-homing works, let's say that this was not in the landscape schedule yet. All you do is when you are open up on that task, here we have this task open, the details are over here. We can hit more actions and we can actually hit add to another project. This is where I'm going to type in my landscape schedule and I'm going to add it to that landscape schedule for me. It's then asking me if I want to put it in a different section, which for my landscape schedule, I don't really care about sections there. If I accidentally multi-homed something or I didn't need it multi-homed anymore, you can simply remove it from any other projects by hovering over that project name and hitting the X. However, here I do want that in that landscape schedule, so I'm going to leave it there. If we scroll down, you can see that I did the same thing with my invoices. So every time I create a client invoice, it's also going into this invoice project. Another super helpful way to use multi-homing is, let's say that my accountant, Allison, she doesn't want to have to go into every individual client project to see the invoices. This is where we can consolidate all of the invoices that she needs to be managing, regardless of the client, in one place. So you can see we have a completely different setup in this project. In this project, we have sections for the phase that invoice is in. So Allison has 2 invoices that she needs to create. She has 3 that she's sent out to the client that are awaiting payment. We've got 1 that's late, and we've got a couple that are paid. So this is the power of multi-homing. Whenever you're ready to create another invoice, we can do something similar to what we did when we duplicated our section. So like I mentioned, you don't have access to template tasks, but you can duplicate tasks. So if we right-click, we can duplicate this task. We can rename it. Let's say we need to make this our April invoice for this client, and then it's asking me what I want to copy over. I want to copy over the assignee, the subtasks, the attachments. I don't want to copy over because I'm going to attach my invoice to this file so I have a quick reference later. Maybe I want to copy over collaborators. I definitely want to copy over projects. That's what's going to get my multi-homing to work. And I don't want to copy over my due date. So we're good there. So we're going to hit duplicate, and now we can see it's populated right here. If I open it up, I can see it's in my invoices project. However, it is in the wrong section. So I need to make sure I put that in ready to create. And so that's the next thing I want to touch on. When you are using multi-homing and you are using the free version, something you are lacking is access to rules. This is available in the advanced tier. When you have a rule, what you could do is you could automatically, well, 1, you could have a task template, but 2, you could also make it so that it will run a rule based on criteria you give it. So when a new task is added to my invoice project, always put it in the ready to create section, for example. So when you're in the free version, there is some manual upkeep that is required, but it's still super powerful and a great way to run that small business. And a great way to come into the platform while maybe you're testing it out and seeing if it works for you. And when you're ready to power up, you can. So let's say this is something I want Allison to work on Tuesday. Make sure she creates that by then. I give her that due date. Maybe I want to post a comment. So this is how I can collaborate with my accountant. Maybe she works virtually, maybe she only works part-time, and so I'm not able to call her all the time. Whatever it is, we can consolidate our conversations in the tasks that we're actually talking about. The last thing I'll touch on here is that, similar to the fact that we don't have task templates, we don't have project templates either. So whenever I'm ready to create a new project for my new client, I don't want to duplicate this existing client project since it's got a bunch of tasks here that are completed and have assignments and different things like that. What I have done as a workaround is I've actually created, if I go back to my team, I created for myself a template landscape client project. So this is a project where I created the sections I wanted, the tasks that I wanted, and I made that template invoice task for myself as well that's already multi-homed in my invoice project. What I can do here is I can then duplicate this project. So it serves like a template. Again, the template functionality is available in the starter package, and it does have a little bit more functionality, so a little bit less maintenance than you'd have to do. But again, when you're using the free version, this is still a great option to have. So we can name our client whatever we need to name it. We can copy over what we want to copy over and create that new project. Not bad. So a couple more things to touch on, and this is really the bread and butter of Asana. This is why you get Asana. Yes, multi-homing is awesome, filtering, unlimited projects, all these things I've touched on, but really what makes Asana amazing is my tasks. So we just talked about all of those things that we're working on, whether it was personal for the grocery list or the credit card bills or the traveling, or maybe it was a client action or an invoice that I need to follow up on. Whatever it might be, your My Tasks is where you're going to have that list of what you need to do today, regardless of the project. So it's going to house everything in one place for you. So I can see quickly I have 2 tasks past due. That one of them is for my client. I needed to create a new schedule item for them. And one is my mortgage payment. This is actually past due. I better get on top of this. Then I can see, okay, today, here are the 4 things that I have due today. This one is a work item. I need to go mow the lawn. This is for traveling. I'm going to book tickets for the Grand Ole Opry. This is my subtask to share that itinerary with my friend. And then I have my credit card and my bills. I got to pay my AT&T today. So My Tasks is really just amazing, and this is why you get Asana. You are able to see everything you need to do in one spot, and it consolidates all of those different projects together for you. And so really, more than anything else, you'll probably be in your My Tasks more than your actual projects, because this is really telling you everything you need to do. You're only going to go into the project when you need to create new tasks. Once I've paid this mortgage payment, I can just mark this complete, and it will create that new one for me. So when we were in my credit cards and bills project, when I marked those things complete and it generated that new task for me, it does the same thing when I'm in my Tasks. So I've marked that complete. If I scroll down, I can see this next mortgage payment automatically popped up for June. And so this is the beauty of Asana. And so lastly, we'll touch on Inbox. So your inbox is really going to be helpful for you if you're collaborating with other people. So in the free version, you still have this inbox, and it's basically a notification center. So if people have commented on those things, if they've assigned you new tasks, things like that. So we can see here this comment that my husband had left for me that we were looking at in the project. The notification actually came through in my inbox. So this is where I can quickly become up to date with any changes that have been made to the tasks that I'm following. Once I've read this notification and I've responded however I needed to, as for this one, I already posted a comment that it looks great. Let's go ahead and book it. I can archive that notification so that I know that I'm done with that. I don't need to do anything else. I don't want this to become a second task list for me. So here I can see that my accountant, Allison, had changed the due date. This is something that's past due. And you know what? I actually already did this, so I can mark that complete, archive that notification. This last notification is something that Asana will send you. It basically gives you a preview of your tasks for the day. That's great. I'm going to archive that and not spend too much time on it. Now I'm up to date with my team's work. Awesome. As I mentioned earlier, in your My Tasks, if you mark something complete in your My Tasks, it's getting marked complete in those projects. The same thing with your inbox. You can see that I had marked that task complete right from my notification. If I go back to my Tasks, we can see I no longer have any tasks that are past due, and now I can just focus on the tasks that I have today. And so that's my review. Hopefully that inspired you. It showed you some features that are available in the free version that'll make you want to hop in there and maybe create some either basic or complex projects for yourself to help manage your to-do list or maybe your small business. And to be honest, I could keep going. There's a lot about Asana, a lot that can be helpful. And if you want to see a complete list of the features that are available and not available, you can actually go to asana.com/pricing and see that comparison for you. Some of the things that I touched on today that are not available are task templates, project templates, some of those views on your projects, and several other things that I didn't have time to get to, such as goals, portfolios, custom fields. So again, that full list is going to be on the asana.com pricing page, but this is a great way to get started on the platform and try out some things, create some projects, do some collaborating, see what you think of that My Tasks view. And if you're ready to upgrade, you can go up to that starter package or up to the advanced if you want access to rules and portfolios and extra reporting, things like that. But as a small business owner or maybe a stay-at-home mom, and you're just trying to get some organization out of the chaos of everything going on, this is a great way to get started.